And welcome to another deep dive. This time, we're going to be looking at IShowSpeed.
Oh, yeah.
He's a really popular streamer and YouTuber known for his gaming content.
Yeah.
And,
His personality.
yeah, for sure. His energetic personality, to say the least.
Yeah, and what's interesting to me is, like, how that online persona kind of bleeds into
Into real life.
yeah, his real-life aspirations, especially with athletics.
Right, and that's what we're looking at today. We're going to be analyzing this interview he did on Club Shay, the YouTube channel.
With Shannon Sharpe.
Yeah, Shannon Sharpe. And Speed. He makes some pretty bold claims about his athletic abilities.
Yeah, he does.
And we're trying to figure out, is there any substance to these boasts? Or is it all just for show?
It's a good question. It's a good opportunity to see, that line between confidence and delusion.
Yeah.
And what it takes to really succeed in professional sports.
For sure, yeah. And one of the first things that jumped out at me in this interview was when Speed was talking about choking out Aiden Ross, another streamer. I'm picturing, some kind of heated gamer moment, right?
Right.
But this happened in front of Dana White,
Oh, wow.
the president of UFC. Like, doesn't that change the context a bit?
It does. Yeah, it definitely does. Is it a publicity stunt? Is it genuine aggression? I don't know. It's hard to say, but it definitely feeds that image of him.
Being a tough guy.
Yeah, like the tough guy image, and then he kind of uses that to bolster his athletic claims.
Right. Okay, so maybe choking somebody out doesn't make you a boxing contender, right?
Yeah.
But what about his claim that he's the fastest content creator out there? He even challenged Tyreek Hill to a race. He did actually race Noah Lyles, the Olympic sprinter. And while he lost, it was surprisingly close.
Right. But we got to keep in mind, Lyles probably wasn't running
Full speed.
Yeah, at full capacity, giving Speed the benefit of the doubt. But is raw speed the only thing that matters in boxing?
Yeah.
You need more than fast feet to succeed in the ring.
Right. You need strategy. You need technique. Yeah. What about training? Because Speed claims he can become a professional in any sport.
Oh, wow.
With just 6 months of training.
That's months.
Well, that's crazy, right?
That's barely enough time to learn the basics, let alone master the complexities.
Of a professional sport.
Of a professional sport, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even in boxing, to compete at a professional level, you need to learn footwork, defensive techniques, throwing punches with power and precision.
For sure.
It's not just swinging wildly. I mean, it's mastering these movements, the strategies that take years to develop.
Yeah, it's like comparing someone who's messed around on a piano to a concert pianist.
Right.
Someone who dedicated their life to it.
So you're saying natural talent might give you a head start.
Sure.
But it's the dedication, the countless hours of practice, refining your technique. That's what separates the amateurs from the pros.
Exactly.
And in boxing, those skills are crucial for both offense and defense. You need to read your opponent, anticipate their moves, and react accordingly.
For sure. And let's not forget the mental aspect.
The mental game.
Yeah, the mental game of boxing. Staying calm, focused under pressure, adapting your strategy mid-fight, pushing through fatigue, through pain, all essential for success.
Yeah.
These are qualities that are honed through years of rigorous training and competition.
So it's not just about physical. It's about the mental toughness, strategic thinking.
Yeah.
So Speed's kind of underestimating or severely underestimating the commitment to be a professional athlete.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment.
His confidence is entertaining. I'll give him that.
It's entertaining.
But it seems like maybe he's blinding himself a little bit to the realities of professional sports.
Right. He's definitely downplaying it.
Well, speaking of realities, Speed also claimed that he sparred with KSI and held his own.
Okay.
Even with just 5 days of training beforehand. Is there any way to verify this?
Well, there's no official footage or documentation of the sparring session, so it's hard to know what actually happened.
But even if we take Speed at his word, sparring's a controlled environment, right?
Yeah, it's much different from a real fight.
With all the pressure and intensity.
Yeah, the pressure, the intensity, the risk of injury is much greater, and the psychological pressure is immense.
So even if he did all right against KSI in sparring, that doesn't necessarily mean success in a pro boxing match.
Right.
There's a reason fighters spend years climbing the ranks before facing top-tier opponents.
Yeah.
It's like comparing a friendly game of pickup basketball to playing in the NBA Finals.
Exactly.
So Speed's claims about his boxing, well, they're entertaining. We need to be careful not to confuse his online persona with the realities of professional fighting.
Yeah, absolutely. It's important to remember that confidence, while it is a valuable asset, it needs to be tempered with realism and a genuine understanding of the challenges.
Well said. This deep dive into IShowSpeed's athletic aspirations is already proving to be pretty fascinating, exploring this line between confidence and delusion. We're not done yet, though. Stick around for part 2, where we'll unpack Speed's claims even further and dive into the psychology behind this unwavering self-belief.
It's going to be good. I'm excited to dive in deeper.
Yeah, me too. Okay, so we've seen that professional boxing takes a lot more than just raw talent and bravado.
Right.
But let's go back to that 6 months to pro claim. 6 months to go pro in any sport.
It's a bold claim.
Yeah. Is there any scenario where somebody, even with crazy natural ability, could actually reach that professional level in any sport?
Well, it's highly unlikely, to put it mildly. I mean, there have been some rare instances of athletes achieving rapid success in certain sports, but those cases usually involve people with prior training or experience in related disciplines.
So, like, if you had a background in kickboxing, you could transition to MMA more quickly than somebody with zero experience.
Their existing skill set would give them a significant advantage in terms of the learning curve, the technical aspects, adapting to the physical demands.
But 6 months is still pushing it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And we can't forget the mental and emotional demands of professional sports.
Right, yeah.
The pressure to perform, the constant scrutiny, the risk of injury.
Yeah, for sure.
It all takes a toll. It takes time to develop the resilience and the mental fortitude you need to thrive in that kind of environment.
So Speed thinking he can just walk into any professional sport and dominate after a few months of training is...
well, naive.
Yeah, putting it lightly.
He seems to be underestimating the amount of work involved, the years of training, the sacrifice.
They go into it, yeah. All right, well, let's switch gears for a second, talk about that race with Noah Lyles.
Yeah.
You said earlier that Lyles was probably not running at full speed. Do we know how seriously each of them took that race?
Well, I think it's important to consider the context.
Right.
You have Lyles. He's a world-class sprinter. He's training rigorously to compete at the highest level.
To win.
To win, right. And you have Speed, who is a content creator, whose athletic endeavors are primarily for entertainment.
Yeah.
It's safe to assume their approaches to the race were pretty different.
Right. It's like comparing, I don't know, like a seasoned chef preparing a gourmet meal versus somebody just like whipping up a quick snack.
Yeah, exactly. The effort and intention behind each act are totally different.
Right. So Lyles was probably treating it as like a fun exhibition.
Right.
Speed maybe saw it as a way to showcase his speed, prove his athletic prowess.
It's definitely possible.
And this brings us back to his claims about challenging NFL players to races.
Yeah.
Even if he was somehow able to keep up with like a Tyreek Hill, what would that even prove?
Well, I mean, it would be entertaining to watch for sure, but it wouldn't really hold much weight in terms of athletic legitimacy.
Right.
NFL players are trained for very specific roles.
Within a team.
Within a complex sport, and their speed and agility, those are just part of a larger skill set.
Yeah.
Strategic thinking, teamwork.
Understanding the game.
And nuances of the game, exactly.
It's like saying, I can run fast, so I can be an NFL quarterback.
Right.
There's so much more to it than just speed.
Way more.
And that's why we have to be careful about this.
About what?
You know, differentiating entertainment and athletic achievement.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Speed might be impressive.
In his world.
In his world, yeah, in the content creation world. But it doesn't mean that he can automatically compete with these professional athletes who have dedicated their lives to the sport.
Right, good point. And, you know, speaking of online content creation, Speed seems to get a lot of confidence from his success in that world.
For sure.
Do you think that bleeds into his athletic aspirations?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the online content creation world rewards
self-promotion.
Yeah, self-promotion, outlandish claims.
It's all about personality.
Yeah.
You know, personality can overshadow substance sometimes.
Right.
It's understandable that his success in that environment might fuel this belief.
That he can conquer anything.
Yeah, that he can achieve similar success in athletics.
So it's like he's applying the rules of one game to a completely different game.
Exactly.
Without understanding the nuances.
The complexities.
Yeah, the complexities involved.
Yeah, I think that's where the disconnect is. Confidence is a powerful thing.
Yeah.
But it has to be grounded in reality.
Right.
And a genuine understanding of the challenges.
There's a fine line, it seems like, between healthy confidence and this over-the-top self-belief.
Oh, yeah. there's a huge difference.
That could lead to
unrealistic expectations and ultimately disappointment.
Right. So healthy confidence is recognizing your strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
Believing in your potential while still being open to feedback.
Learning from mistakes.
Yeah, constantly striving to improve.
For sure.
Man, this deep dive is making me really think about confidence.
It's fascinating.
The impact it has on our goals and aspirations. It's not just about how much confidence we have.
I agree.
But about how we channel it.
And direct it.
Toward meaningful goals.
I couldn't agree more. True confidence comes from self-awareness, a willingness to embrace challenges, a dedication to growth.
Continuous improvement, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, this deep dive into IShowSpeed's athletic aspiration.
It's more than just
an analysis
of his claims.
Yeah, it's a thought-provoking exploration of confidence, ambition, and the realities of pursuing our dreams.
It's really interesting.
But we're not finished yet. Stick around for part 3, where we wrap things up and try to answer the question.
The big question.
Yeah, the big question. Could IShowSpeed, with the right guidance and dedication, make a name for himself in professional boxing? Or is he destined to remain a king of content rather than a king of the ring? All right, so we've really dug into IShowSpeed's claims about his athletic abilities. And
it's been a journey.
Yeah, it has. I mean, he's got that energy, right, and that self-belief, but is that enough to actually make it in pro sports?
That's the big question.
It is.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I don't know if there is an easy answer.
Yeah, no easy answer.
No. So we said that pro boxing requires a lot of training, years of it. But Speed seems to think he's the exception. Where does that come from?
I think you have to look at his background. He's a star in the online content world.
Right.
And personality and entertainment, those things are king in that world.
Right. And it's all about the hype.
It's all about hype. It can definitely make you feel invincible.
When you're surrounded by all that.
Yeah, especially when you're constantly surrounded by it.
It's like he's playing a video game where you can just level up your character really easily. But real life doesn't work like that.
Definitely not pro sports.
No, not at all. And that's where I think there's potential for disappointment.
Oh, for sure.
Because if he thinks he can just jump into boxing
and dominate,
yeah, with barely any effort, he's in for a reality check.
A big one.
Yeah. But what if he's willing to actually put in the work? Like, what if he finds the right coaches, the right training, and really approaches it with that same intensity we see online?
That's when it gets interesting.
Yeah.
Because he definitely has athleticism.
He's a natural athlete.
Yeah. And that drive.
Right. And he's got that charisma, that online following.
Right.
He could build a huge fan base.
Oh, yeah. The buzz around his fights could be insane.
It's not totally impossible.
Not necessarily, but it would take a huge shift in mindset. He'd have to be willing to grind, you know, and accept setbacks.
Not give up easily.
Exactly. And learn from the people who know more.
Be humble.
Humility would be key.
Yeah. Man, this whole conversation.
It's been wild, right?
We went from laughing at some of these claims to actually thinking, wait, could he pull this off?
It just shows you potential can come from anywhere.
Yeah.
And it's easy to dismiss Speed, but you got to acknowledge what he has.
At raw talent.
Yeah. And with the right guidance, who knows?
So I guess the verdict is...
we wait and see.
We wait and see. Only time will tell if he can actually make that jump.
From entertainment to pro boxing.
From the screen to the ring.
From the screen to the ring, exactly.
But I think one thing's for sure. This is going to be fun to watch.
Oh, absolutely.
He's a force of nature.
He is, and I think he's going to make waves, whether it's in boxing or somewhere else. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone.